Hello everyone, welcome back to Pixel Village and I'm Radha Krishnan. Well, you guessed it right. It is going to be about the YoloBox from YoloLive. And what we have in front of us is the YoloBox Pro, which we reviewed sometime during June. We had the version 1.7.0 at that time. I'll add a link in the description for you to watch that video, but we're going to be talking about the upgrades that they've offered ever since through various firmware upgrades. So they gave you the 1.8.0 first, then they gave you 1.9.0, and when they introduced the YoloCast, they gave you 1.9.1, which introduced a lot of features, integrated the YoloBox Pro with the YoloCast, and then they gave you 2.0, and recently they gave the 3.0. And in 6 months, the amount of feature upgradation or additional features that the YoloBox Pro got is not a joke. In fact, when I counted, it was about 29 new features from 1.7 to 3.0. That's amazing, which actually has made this YoloBox Pro an entirely different animal altogether. Of course, it'll be a lengthy video if I start explaining all the additional features in one video. But one thing is certain, YoloLive as a company has been listening to the users very carefully, and they've been integrating, adding all those features that they've asked for and more, of course. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the big ticket items which actually made this box Pro, the YoloBox Pro, really more than worth its money. Okay, so I'm going to go step by step. So I went from 1.7 to 3. So I want to kind of give you the big ticket items from each upgrade. So I'm going to read out one and I'm going to actually show you how it is done. So first thing that you have to do is to upgrade, right? We have already done that. You know the drill, you know how it is done. Make sure that you are in a stable network area. Make sure that your YoloBox Pro is powered and there is enough battery backup, because something, you run out of power during upgrades, it'll turn to a brick. But yes, make sure that is done and hit upgrade and it upgrades. All right, so we have done that. This is 3.0. So let me start telling you about the big ticket items like I mentioned. Okay, the big one in the 1.8 is switch 10 video sources. 10 video sources. So it's very simple. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the screen onto my original YoloBox. Okay. Here, in fact, we wanted to do this in the last video, and we saw another fellow YouTuber doing it. We asked him how he's done. He told us that it's a little complicated. We realized subsequently how complicated it is. So here we go. You need to just get your, the HDMI out and put it as one input source onto the other YoloBox, and make sure that you have an SD card in here. That's it. If this actually mirrors everything on the screen onto the other YoloBox, you hit record and it records. We tried doing that using an external recorder earlier. We tried using that, projecting it onto, or rather, kind of mirroring it onto a large television. Did not happen, but this is something which was there right in front of us, a kind of a solution staring at you, but we did not see it. Anyway, now that we know it, here we go. So I'm going to start recording the screen. Okay, here I go. So I've started recording the screen. All right. So the first one I said is 10 video sources. Now currently we have this as one source from this main camera that I'm talking about, and the second video source is the screen using a camera on my left. Okay, so I make the screen big, and of course now you know the first one, and this is the other one. Okay, let me minimize it. All right, so 10 sources to switch from. Add sources. Now you see the amount of additional sources available is amazing. You have your 1, 2, 3, 4 inputs, that is 3 HDMIs and 1 USB. Then you have a local video that can be added. Second local video, you can add a live stream into it. You can add, of course, PDFs all from the local SD card, and 2 picture-in-picture and 2 split views. You know the drill, right? You know how to get a split view and a picture-in-picture, and then there are side-by-sides, and there's something called a news layout. I'll show you what it is as we go on, and then there is triple. 2 of each, that together makes probably more than 12, 16 or whatever, of which you can switch from 10 of this. So that's amazing. Next one is USB-C for external USB drive. So you have a USB-C here, right? Not the one which is used for charging, the other one, other USB. In the earlier 1.7, it had a very limited usage. Now you can use this USB to add as an external storage. Besides the SD card here, you can also access data from the external storage or even write to it. The next one is USB-C for Rodecaster Pro and some other audio mixers. Imagine you are using the YoloBox Pro for a live podcast and your audio is kind of mixed through your Rodecaster Pro. Well, the USB out, very powerful one. You know how it is. We have a very detailed video on, the Rodecaster Pro 2. Take a look at it. I'll add the link in the description. You can get that USB out in here and you can use the Rodecaster Pro to mix audio. That's amazing. The next one is it automatically hides the overlay. You know what an overlay is. So earlier you had to physically turn off the overlay. Now you can actually assign a certain duration for the overlay, for which I'm going to add an overlay. Okay, so I have an overlay called social media handle, and I can actually add an overlay duration. And I say, oh, auto hide, and it actually gives me a duration within which it will fade away. So let me see it. Let me show, okay, there it is. And I'm going to go full screen. And after a while, in 10 seconds, it should ideally fade away. There it is. It goes away. All right. So the big ticket item, that's very useful because you had to, otherwise, in between, the conversation and that complicated, high tensed kind of moments, you need to go and switch it off or turn it off, which is not required anymore. And more shapes for the subscreen of picture-in-picture. More shapes for the subscreen. So imagine I take this as my the main screen. This is my main screen, and if I add a picture-in-picture, for example, so for which I need to create one more, input. This is my main screen, and if I add this as my subscreen, I get a shape here. I can select any of these. So I'm going to use a circle, and I'm going to position it very carefully. And once I do that, you have my picture-in-picture. Okay, that's my full screen picture-in-picture. I also have additional, ability to further control the border color of, suppose if you are in a corporate launch presentation, etc., and they have a corporate color, which you have to must use, then you can pick that color. For example, let me pick green, which is part of one of our corporate colors. You can add that as a part of your presentation. Also, of course, standard controls like thickness, subscreen shape, of course, and at any point you want to swap the video, all you have to do is to touch once and it swaps position, and there you go. So that's another interesting one, but for me, for this point, this is one video that I have saved. So main video, and then I have my second camera, and this is my picture-in-picture. Now you have a fade to black option. You know what a fade to black is. To activate that, go to setting and video source transition, and right on top, fade to black. It's very interesting. So if you want the frame to turn fade to black, that's what you can do. You can also do fade, you can also do wipes. This was always there available. Fade to back. All right, the next one is auto switching. Of course, it always had auto switching, but here in this case, there's some modification that has come in. I'm sure, it's again inputs from the actual user. So you can actually add your video sources, 1, 2, and 3 sources. Here currently I have only 3, but of course, you can switch between 10 sources, and you can actually assign, the main, which is the main video. So in this case, the HDMI 2 is my main video, and I'm going to say it is a random switching, okay? And also assign a certain timing for that. For example, for HDMI 1, which is this guy, I'm going to assign only 3 seconds, okay? And for HDMI 2, here about 8 seconds, and the picture-in-picture is about 10 seconds. And switching order is random. Main source I told you, and main source I can actually give a preferential timing, start auto switching, and you will now see the system automatically switching between all these 3 like this. So you can, if you are presenting alone, well, you can comfortably do it without worrying to switch it. So if you have multiple people, there are some additional features which I'll tell you very soon. Your presentation will become really, really dynamic. Okay, so let me go back, stop the auto switch, and let me tell you which is the next big upgrade. Now let's talk about the 1.9.0, which brought in this feature called inviting guests. Till then, well, you had to be physically present in the studio to be a part of the stream. Now you can invite people, up to 5 people, through an email invitation. And the invitation can be, interestingly, sent from the device itself. Very simple. You go to the the bottom bar, and you see the third item where you see 2 overlapping heads. Click on that, and you will get the invite guest menu, in which you just invite whoever you want to invite through their personal email ID. So here in this case, I don't want to invite anyone else into the stream. I'm just sending one invitation to myself. So all I have to do is to send a link to me. Otherwise, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 people you can invite simultaneously. The moment they accept it, I'll show you how it is done. Okay, so I'm going to send a link to myself. Okay, send a link to me. Okay, and it says an email was sent to me. Now that email will be available on my phone. Okay, I have kept my phone ready. So let me go to my phone and access my email. And here it is. The invite from YOLO Live is already present. All I have to do is to accept the invite, and it will take me to the YOLOLive.com's cloud. And yeah, so it's opening up, and it says I have to give my phone all the necessary permissions, and I have to type in the guest name. Now we have an esteemed guest here, okay, Shikari Shambhu. So I'm going to say Shikari, Kari Shambhu. Yeah, he is very popular guest in most of our shows, and I have to say join the event. But of course, you need to allow the participants to join, and mute guest audio by default, which is good, because otherwise they'll come in with a lot of noise. And yeah, so I am here already, and what I have to do is to go to the setting, and of course you can select the front camera or the rear camera. I select the back camera, And the resolution, once I confirm, my back camera is done, and here I go. Okay, I'm already here on the screen. So let me bring that screen on, yeah, and let me frame my Shikari shampoo properly. Okay, there you go. I have kept a chroma background for a reason. The reason is very simple. Let me also mute myself. If I don't mute myself, since he's in the room, there will be like an echo. So I have muted myself. So let me go back. And what I'm going to do is to first show you how to do a little bit of chroma keying. So I'm going to do the chroma key, change from blue to blue, and there you go. And let me do that once again. And I am going to fine tune. Smoothness. Okay, I'm going to fine tune. Hope this is nice. And I can add a backdrop image, which is in my SD card. Here is my backdrop, and it gets loaded. And there you go. Done. Voila. Shikari Shambhu is in Africa straight away. Of course, he is not allowed to do any hunting though. All right, there you go. That's your Shikari Shambhu in the screen. Okay, let me see. Now, Shikari Shambhu has a name, correct? Shikari Shambhu. So the Shambhu is here right in front of my screen. So now I can switch between 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 channels. So that's very nice. Shikari Shambhu is here and it's ready. This is how you can invite up to 5 guests online, and they'll be here and they will be able to interact with your audience. You have something called an enhanced side-by-side view. So I'll show you what an enhanced side-by-side view is. So okay, so let me take a side-by-side view. So I'm going to say take one side-by-side view like this, and I'm going to pick my presentation 1 and my presentation is a camera 2 as my side-by-side view. So as you can see, the backdrop has checkered boxes, which means it's transparent. I can add some dynamic backdrop, and I can control the color of the border, and also swap the video from left to right or right to left in one touch of the button, and I can actually increase or decrease the size. Now, as you can see, when I slide this button, okay, you see the size of the windows are changing. Now, instead of squeezing the window, they're actually cropping it into various different sizes. So let me switch this. This will be a much better way. All right, so let me switch this. So see this? This is another view completely done. So this is another interesting view, and I can be in this inset, and I am right in the center. Okay. And of course, it says the newest 100 comments will be displayed. Please go to the platform if you want to check the full content. Comments would not be available if you post to the timeline with just friends mode. Rather, please check in public, of course. Well, currently, we've not gone live. This is only a demonstration. The moment I hit go live here on this in the main screen, then this will be live. Now you can have a countdown, which actually counts down and stops. Earlier, you had to physically switch to your first screen after the countdown. Now it automatically switches to the front, the main camera that you have selected in your screen. So for which I need to go, it's an overlay. You have a countdown overlay here, and this countdown overlay can be further fine-tuned here in this particular screen, and I can add a name. It says countdown. The reason why you want to name it is that as you go on, you will have developed innumerous amount of overlays and things like that, and you will get confused. So you can reuse them, right? So you should have a name for it. And Well, the most interesting thing, now you can add an intro music. Earlier, you had no way of doing that. Now, well, I have in my SD card, I have downloaded a set of music, and I can play it along with it. Of course, the rest is similar. I have lots of control on the way the animation is going to happen, like the type size, type weight, color, size, etc. I'm not going to worry too much about it. It also shows you a level transparency. So it'll, if you want to keep a small transparency like this, some people likes to do that. You can do that. Let me keep it like this and done. Okay, so you see some action in the backdrop and there is a countdown happening. And the moment it counts down to 0, voila, you are in the frame. So that's my first frame. So it comes with music and plays the overlay. The next interesting one is the social media overlay. So social media overlays. It's a template which is done. All you have to change is the name. So your Facebook, Insta, YouTube channel, Twitter, and LinkedIn profiles. The overlay is already done. So what I have done is I've already created my personal Instagram ID here while I'm talking, and you can also add a time to it. So you can add here. You can add a time right here at the bottom. Otherwise, I told you, you had to physically take it off from your screen. Here in this case, it disappears after the time that you have set. There you go. It's gone. The upgrade to 2.0 brought in a lot of additional features to YoloBox Pro. The most interesting and the important one is the instant replay. If you are streaming a game of cricket or football or whatever that you are live streaming, and if you want to instantly replay something which has just happened, just hit replay, it would pick. Okay, so you need to preset the time that you want to replay. So it'll just go back that much back in the timeline and it'll play back again. So that's very interesting. It wasn't available earlier at all. And when you are streaming, well, you are used to watching these real high-end television programs where replays are happening from all possible directions. Well, you will miss that, right? But not any longer. So the YoloBox Pro with the upgrade 2.0 brings it to you on your tabletop. And to the 3.0 upgrade, well, it brought in video cropping. Now you can name the overlays. You can lock the overlays with the video source. Well, okay, let me go one by one. Now you can crop the video. So let me take one video and crop it. For example, let me take Shikari Shambhu, for example. And if I am going to crop this, I have this option of cropping it like this. Okay. Or I can take another, aspect ratio, or I can create my own aspect ratio. Correct? What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this and I'm going to say fit to screen, which basically means that crop will go and fit into the entire screen. Once I say done, it says it's asking whether this cropping effect should be added on to your original video or should be saved as new. I'm going to say save as new. So take a look at this. Now we have Shikari Shambhu in big screen, cropped, and I can also have his wide view. So this is extremely interesting. Now you can also lock the overlay to a particular screen. Very useful, especially when you have multiple people in a stream and you want to, let's say there is a CEO and there is a CFO and there is an interviewer, and the 3-4 people, each one will have a lower third, which actually talks about their name, their designation, etc. Earlier, you had to physically switch, correct? Technically, you have to take the overlay off, switch the screen, then bring in the corresponding overlay physically in. Now, you can lock the overlay to a particular window. As long as you don't switch the HDMI ins, that overlay will stick to that particular input, which is very, very interesting. For example, let me add one overlay and let me add a lower third. Okay, so the lower third that I want to add is, let me just change this from title Frank Zoo. Instead, I'm going to say Radha. Okay, and the overlay name is Presenter. Okay, so it makes it easier for people to pick who that is. So I'm the presenter, and the subtitle is Pixel Viilage. Pixel Viilage. And of course, you can have color, the size color, so the title size can be adjusted. You can position it wherever you want. Subtitle size, no, I want the subtitle to be small, and transparency, auxiliary color, adjust the alignment. Yeah, so that's interesting. Left, right, and say auto hide. So when you say auto hide, you will have to type in the duration, and I'm going to add the Pixel Viilage color here. So I got a Pixel Viilage color, say Radha Pixel Viilage. I see that I don't have too much control on the leading, the space between two lines, but however, I'm going to say this. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to click Radha. So I've given it a time lock. You see this this lock button? I lock it onto my screen. So it will come with lock it onto my screen. All right. So it will fade away after 10 seconds, and it will come only if it is on any other screen. And if I try to tap, it won't come on that screen. So which means you will, avoid a lot of accidents. Bring me back in, and Radha comes back in 10 seconds, it fades away. Now you can have one tab where all your comments will be visible. Everything will be visible right here. See, you can see everything right here. So once you start getting these comments in, it'll be visible here. You can scroll and watch, and so that's very interesting addition that they have done in the 3.0. One small, when you add a screen, and this can be scrolled up and down like that, but now here, right below here, if I need to access the earlier windows, it's not scrollable. I can't scroll it. I need to use the up down arrow, which at times the screen get a little sticky. I am sure YoloLive is aware of it, and YoloLive is trying to solve this, but yeah, at times can be a little tricky, especially during a live stream. So I think it was really a long video. I think it's close to an hour, but yeah, nevertheless, I had to do it because it's very important. It actually changed the nature of the game. It actually changed it converted the YoloBox Pro into a Pro Plus by adding these almost 30 odd features, and that too in 6 months, which means this product, anyone who's put in money on this product 6 months back will be having a big smile on his face, or her face for that matter. We in fact mentioned about this because the whole thing is like a mobile device. It's built on a Snapdragon chip inside, which means a very well thought out firmware upgrade can really take the efficiency of the product to another level. Now, last but not the least, and probably the most important one is, in the earlier occasion, if you finish a live streaming and if you quit it, all the screens, all the windows that you've created will go away with it. But in this case, if you quit, if you finish and you exit the live stream, well, okay, let me show you. I'm going to exit this live stream. It's asking you, are you sure to exit the live stream event? Now, this is after you stop the live event, you exit the event. Well, all you have to do is to get your screen, duplicate it as, let's say, test 2, done, and done. The new live schedule will have all your setting exactly like that, including your overlays. Isn't that cool? So, if you have not already updated your firmware, I think you should do it right now. You have more than one reason to do it. So, grab a coffee and hit that upgrade button. I also need a strong cup of coffee because it's been quite a while. Bye for now.